Battlefield fans, you're going to absolutely love this one. EA and IGN have just announced that there's a new Battlefield game coming. Take a look. So as we can see here on the screen, this is the only image that we currently have revealed, but there is a whole, obviously, description and review of what IGN has managed to get from EA basically about the new Battlefield. So here we can see, obviously it is only concept art, but this does appear to be, like they say as well in the review, a bit of Italy. Now we are seeing fire coming down here. Could this be a volcano erupting? Possibly, not too sure. Forest fires, or could it just simply be from destruction from the missile barrage that we can see incoming? Could it be anything to do with Russia and Ukraine involvement? Could it be any kind of current war involvement? I mean, this doesn't look like any city that I've actually seen. There's a big bay. We can see there's actually warships here, helicopters, and other bits and bobs floating about. Obviously, we can see that this is only textured. This is not a real life imagery when we're looking at these buildings, but maybe it is. Maybe it's actually meant to represent real life scenario, and this is just their render that they've done over the top, or a zoomed in version of a map, and then they've put other renders to it. Because I mean, it does look very like Google Earth imagery when you do look at it from these angles. Does that look completely made up? I'm not too sure. Let me know in the comments down below. But I think with that being said, guys, let's jump into the actual review and see what IGN has managed to pull from EA. So here we are on the IGN website. We can see exclusive. Vince Zampella confirms next Battlefield will use modern setting. First concept art has been revealed. That's the image that we were literally just looking at. And obviously, I'd love to hear your thoughts. So let me know in the comments down below what you think it is. And we get our first glimpse of EA's big Battlefield revival. Revivals, key word there, and learn more about how it's getting back to basics. So this was by Cat Bailey, and it was literally uploaded last night, September the 16th. So I'm trying to bring it to you as quick as possible. Ahead of its Investors Day on September the 17th, EA revealed fresh details on its untitled Battlefield game alongside its first official concept art, which IGN can exclusively reveal for the first time. IGN can confirm also that Battlefield will be returning to a modern setting after stints in World War I, World War II, and the near future. So while EA is cagey about specifics when it comes to the concept art, including declining to name of the city where it is set, wait. So they are actually declining the name of the city where it's set. So does that mean with them, that wording that they've put there, that it is actually a real city? That's quite interesting. So though it looks a lot like Italy, France, or somewhere else in Europe, it does include details that should stand out to longtime fans of the series. Among other things, it appears to suggest that the ship-to-ship and helicopter combat will be part of the new game, and that it will feature natural disasters like wildfires. That's what we're seeing then. So it's not lava. It is. I mean, that does look like lava. I'm not being funny. That looks like lava. It doesn't look like a wildfire. Maybe fire does burn like that, but that looks like molten. Its greyish colour scheme is evocative of Battlefield 4, which remains one of the most popular games in the series despite being released a decade ago. Do you think Battlefield 4 was the most popular game? I personally would have thought Battlefield 3 was the most popular game. It definitely was my favourite, Battlefield 3, especially when they brought out close quarter combat. That was amazing. And then obviously Battlefield 4 come out afterwards with Levolution, which was amazing. Never seen anything like it in a game. And then obviously we did take a couple of steps back, but graphically we took a lot of steps forward. So I'm really hyped about this one, guys. You don't really know me as a Battlefield player, but I am a massive fan of Battlefield. I did play 2042, but I played it right at its very start of its release, and a lot of it, but more hazard zones and the gameplay itself, but on stream rather than actual video. So that's why you've not seen any of it. So as we can see here, Battlefield goes back to basics. All of its points to back to basics approach for the next Battlefield. Indeed, head of Respawn and Group GM for EA Studios organization Vince Zampella is quickly to shout out Battlefield 3 and 4 in the course of sitting down with IGN to talk about these new reveals. On the decision to return to the modern era, Zampella says, I mean, if you look back to the peak or the pinnacle of Battlefield, it's that Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 era where everything was modern. Yes, there was no future concept. There was no, obviously, previous war concept. It was today's day and age with slight little tweaks that could be obviously implemented and real. And I think we have to get back to the core of Battlefield and do that amazingly well, and then we will see where it goes from there. But I think for me, it's that peak of Battlefield-ness is in the Battlefield 3 and 4 days. I totally agree. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think that is the peak of Battlefield, or what do you think is the peak of Battlefield? Battlefield 2 was pretty darn epic though, I'm not gonna lie, that was great. So I think it's nostalgic for players, for me, for the teams even. Those are kind of the heyday, although I would say 1942 also. 1942 was obviously great, but when we look at Battlefield 2 with the first modern era with the jets and everything and the big maps where you could have played it on PC, there was actually a Battlefield 2 on Xbox original. It was called Battlefield Modern Warfare, Battlefield 2 Modern Warfare, or Modern Combat, one of them two names, and I thought that was pretty cool. That was the first actual addition to me actually playing Battlefield on a console, which was great. I did obviously play Battlefield 2 before that on the PC, but they were two completely different games. The return to the modern setting represents a course correction for the series after Battlefield 2042, which eventually found its footing, but was otherwise wildly panned for features like specialists, characters that made it seem as if Battlefield was trying to be a hero shooter. Yeah, I didn't like the hero shooter aspect. Its ambitious 1-2-8 player maps also proved unpopular with fans who preferred a more focused experience. Battlefield 2042 eventually went back to supporting 64 player per maps, and the next Battlefield plans to stick to that approach. So yes, with having 128 players, obviously it limited what they could do with the game. The maps were humongous. Were you always in fights? No, I actually thought a lot of the time if you couldn't spawn near the front of the battlefield, or you couldn't spawn in a vehicle, you did find yourself running for very long periods. Take it back to the likes of Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, like they are mentioning here. You're always in combat, even if you're respawning at base or you're respawning at front or wherever you're respawning, you always heard the sounds of combat, which made it really flipping darn cool. So yeah, great for me. I'd rather have nice, dense, really nice, well-designed play spaces. Some of them are really good. So they did put here as well, some of them are really good. That means we might actually be closer than we think to the reveal of this Battlefield, because obviously we're getting this speech here and saying what era they're in, we're getting concept art, but they've already designed some of the spaces, which to me doesn't seem like it's going to be years and years and years away. It's actually going to be a lot closer than we think, but who knows? I could be entirely wrong. I mean, what year do you think it's going to come out? Don't say 2042. I personally think early. No, are they not known to release early in the year? No, I think maybe fall 2026 is probably when we're going to see the next Battlefield. So yeah, the 128 player, did it make it more fun? Question mark. Like, doing the number for the sake of the number doesn't make any sense. I agree. We're testing everything around what's the most fun. So like you said, the maps, once they get to the certain scale, become different. It's a different play space, and I think you have to design around that. So we are designing something that is more akin to previous Battlefields, as Ampella says. I'd rather have nice, dense, really nice, well-designed play spaces. Some of them are really good, and I can't wait for you to see them. Bring us back Metro. Metro, Alpha, oh, absolutely heavenly. Specialists are also out this time around. So obviously, I personally think that Battlefield 2042 was meant to be a battle royale. I think because of the flop of the Battlefield 5 Firepoint, or Firestorm, I'm not too sure what the name of it was exactly, I can't really remember. I think because of the flop of that Battle Royale series, that 2042, they pulled the plug on it and turned it into a different type of game, multiplayer game, rather than a Battle Royale. Now, why do I think Firepoint or Firestorm didn't actually work? Is because you had to pay to play the game. Now, typically, as we know, Battle Royales are free to play. You've got your Fortnites, you've got your, obviously, your Warzones, and you've got your other bits and bobs that are floating around here, there, and everywhere. Apex, let's say, and they're free to play. Firestorm, you actually had to buy the game to be able to access it. If they made that free to play, it would have probably still been one of the best Battle Royales on the market. Because if you had played it, it was epic. And obviously, if you haven't, well, if you hadn't seen it, unlucky you. So yeah, Specialists are also out this time around. So I wasn't there for 2042. So the actual new Zampella obviously wasn't creating 2042, which is great. Means we've got new, fresh ideas on it. I don't know what the rationale was, but for me, it's like the team tried something new, which you can't obviously knock. You have to applaud, yeah, like I said, you have to applaud that effort. Not everybody liked it, but you got to try things. It didn't work. It didn't fit. Specialists will not be coming back. Great news. So classes are kind of that core of Battlefield, and we're going back to that, Zampella says. So we're going back to the Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 era. Everything that we've got from the first section up here to now is they're trying to bring Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 back. So we're probably going to get Levolution, epic graphics, epic destruction, and boots on the ground combat, as well as obviously vehicles, but quite limited because we're probably going to get 64 player maps. Now, does it mean that they're not going to be able to add more? Who knows? So he's careful to stress that Battlefield 2042 wasn't a failure of a game, which it wasn't. Despite not doing as well as hoped, he notes that the development team really spent a lot of time learning how to adapt it and getting things back. Still, he says EA doesn't want to repeat of the experience it had in 2042. Whoops, it had with 2042. We want it to be good out of the gate. Good. This might mean that there will be delays for the game to release, but 2042, which obviously made it bad out of the gate, is there was no like real demolition. Walls couldn't really be destroyed. There's so many maps where you'd be shooting things. Like, I remember when I first loaded into the maps, you'd think, oh, these sky rises, they're going to be able to come down. This is going to be epic. Instead, we got hovercrafts driving up the side of them. So yeah, there was a lot of tweaking that really needed to be done. It adds up to what one might call classic Battlefield, but big enough that it merits the efforts of 4 separate studios in DICE, Motive, Ripple Effects, and Criterion. Ridgeline Games was briefly part of its development before being shuttered after founder Marcus Leoff's departure. EA CEO Andrew Wilson claims it's one of the most ambitious projects in EA's history. Oh, wait. So it's like classic Battlefields, obviously Battlefield 3, 4, but big enough that it merits the efforts of 4 separate studios. So, like I said, going back to my thing before, there was actually 5 studios on it. One's been removed, but 4 studios have been working on it. How close is this to be dropping? Like, this seems to me like it's coming really soon. When was the last Battlefield 2042? Now, Battlefields used to come out every 2 years, right? So maybe it's not 2026, maybe it's 2025. I doubt it's going to be this year, but that's pretty darn interesting. Nevertheless, Zampella remains vague on what all of that actually entails. Yeah, it's definitely betting bigger on Battlefield. It's going in and expanding what Battlefield is. We have to have the core Battlefield players know what they want. They've been with us forever. They've been amazing supporters. We need to earn their trust back and get them back on our side. True. And then it's expanding out and getting more players into the universe and seeing what we can do. So when you want a different experience, you don't have to leave Battlefield like that. So maybe that's Portal coming back, but with loads more game modes and quirkiness. You can experience more things within the Battlefield universe, so we're expanding the offerings of what we're giving. Now, you do have to put that into consideration. Look at this is not a comparison by all means, but Roblox in there, you've got all these assets and you can create endless worlds. Well, if you think Battlefield, it's got obviously all these assets from all these years, which we've seen through Portal, but it's also got the flying mechanics, it's got the driving mechanics, it's got the water mechanics, the swim mechanics. In theory, you should be able to make some insane game modes with the current assets that are already in the game for you to be able to make your own potential world, or maybe they're on about the Battle Royale is going to be coming. Who knows? What's your thoughts on the Battle Royale? I personally would like it, but I know a lot of you hardcore Battlefield fans are really not going to like it. So the road ahead for Battlefield. In the meantime, Activision Blizzard is planning to release Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Battlefield's traditional competitor. Where Battlefield has stumbled, Call of Duty has largely continued to thrive. It begs the question, will Battlefield ever outsell Call of Duty? My answer to that is yes, because Call of Duty has been on a constant repetitive cycle. Now, do I think Black Ops 6 isn't going to sell that well? No, I definitely think it will. I don't know about sell that well, because obviously it's going to be on Game Pass, so a lot of people are going to have Game Pass. So if you want to class that as selling well, then great, yeah. But then it's probably going to make some extreme numbers, really. But yeah, Black Ops 6 is going to be good because everyone wants to play zombies. I really want to play it because I want to play zombies. I'm not really too bothered about the multiplayer. I did play the multiplayer, don't get me wrong, on the beta, and I did really like it. So yes, I will play it, but I don't know how long I'll play it for. Whereas if you put me into a good old Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 lobby, or a game where the servers are still there and vibrant, I would probably still play that more to this day, because of the constant changes and adaptations that you make to the maps. It's not so linear, because you think a normal typical Call of Duty map's 3 lines, you go left, right, or center, which you never really want to go center unless you're an absolute lunatic. But yeah, So if you look at the best Battlefields have outsold some of Call of Duty's and the other ways around, back and forth. So I think absolutely it can, Zampella says. Note, while sales data is incomplete, the publicly available data for even weaker releases like Infinite Warfare has typically favoured Call of Duty. I mean, is that what we're going for? I mean, not directly, but always, we're not looking to take down Call of Duty. We're making something that's different and we're making something that's us. But yeah, it definitely has the possibility. I mean, this Zampella guy, he's or female, I'm not too sure. He's very, very confident in what they're saying. So I'm liking it. I'm liking the confidence. So on the subject of pushing into the transmedia space, where franchises like The Last of Us and Fallout have thrived, the latter taking home the Emmy Award over the weekend, Zampella demurs. So there are definitely opportunities there. We've had some discussions, but it's not our core business. To me, that stuff, when it works, it's super cool. Like Arcane was flipping great. He's using a good choice of words. But there are other ones that haven't worked out as well. And I won't name those. But you know what there are, he says. It's a marketing opportunity of getting your franchise out there, and it's not core to what we are doing right now. So we are game first that has to work. And if the right opportunity comes, absolutely, we'll look at it. And do we take meetings all the time? Sure, but it's not the core business. So it's that balance I would love to see. Right now, we're not looking at anything like that for Battlefield. Cool. It's unclear when the next Battlefield will release, but there are signs EA is ramping up for 2025, having entered full production earlier this year, according to Zampella. EA is playtesting the game every week, so it is in a point of playtest already. That is absolutely insane. And plans to launch a community program next year, though it's unclear if it's a closed beta or something else. Oh, so who knows? We might actually get it next year. I mean, it makes sense. Like I said, Battlefield games used to come out every 2 to maybe 3 years, and we're definitely going way past that right now. So I think we're in a really good place. It's challenging, of course, but it wouldn't be fun if it wasn't. Nice. I like the competitive spirit. So you have a program that we're going to announce next year around getting more community in, because that kind of the core is what we have to do. Get the community back on our side, get the trust back, he says. So I think we're in a really good place. Is it challenging? Of course, but it wouldn't be fun if it wasn't. So basically what we just read there. So whenever Battlefield eventually releases, it'll be a big test for the series, which has a lot to prove to fans after close to a decade since its last really successful entry. It will be entering an unsettled console landscape, with Sony announcing the PS5 Pro last week, rumors of a next-gen Xbox, and Nintendo expected to announce the Switch 2 soon. Oh, whoa, Zampella, can we pause? Why are you even on about a Switch 2 in this? Surely the game's not going to run on a Switch 2. I mean, if it does, like, congratulations, but this should not be in the mix. It should be, okay, Xbox, PlayStation, PC, but Nintendo Switch? Zampella is broadly taking a well-see approach to both the PS5 Pro and an unannounced Switch 2, though he has some kind words for Nintendo in particular. I mean, since Switch 2 isn't announced and it doesn't exist, I can't really comment on that, but I would say absolutely Nintendo, along with Microsoft and Sony, are great partners for us, are important to us on our business at EA, at Respawn, and would love to see it, Zampella says. So we don't have anything to announce, but is there a world? Sure, we love them as partners. They have been great to us, and I love the Switch. I mean, what's your thoughts on consoles? Do you put Switch in the same category as Xbox and PlayStation? Yet again, let me know in the comments down below, because I'm not too sure on that one. One way or another, EA is betting a huge amount of time, money, and manpower on the idea that the multiplayer shooter space is ready for a shake-up. As for whether that bet will pay off, it sounds like we'll know sooner rather than later. I cannot flipping wait. So, yeah, guys, let me know everything, all your thoughts in the comments down below. I am really super duper hyped. Obviously, leave a subscribe if you want more news like this, because every time anything new Battlefield comes out, I make sure I bring it to your faces. So like, follow, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.